Hi, Wun-Dar. Did something go wrong or something go right? I thought that after everything that's happened, maybe I should try out some of that life that Duncan always told me to get. Well, how was it? It was beautiful. I'm happy for you, Wun-Dar. Really. Thanks. The only thing that bums me out is now we live in a world without Masters of the Universe Classics Wun-Dar. That's kind of why I'm here. Where did you even get this? I had a little time to travel. Try it on. How does it feel? Like it's someone else's. It isn't. Thank you. I'll try my best. That's why it's yours. You gonna tell me about her? Nope. I don't think I will. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another video review from Fanboys Forever. And all those that have been here before, I welcome you back. And to those that maybe this is their first time here on the channel, I want to welcome you today. We have a very special review, and it is for the brand new Masters of the Universe Origins Wun-Dar figure. Yes, that's right. To those of us that know him, Wun-Dar has finally returned after all of these years. And for those that don't know him, it's very important to give just a tiny bit of background about who he even is. Wun-Dar is the name that was given by Scott Neitlich and the team at Mattel back in 2008-2009 to a character that perplexed fans for many years about his origin. A mail-away He-Man figure that had brown hair and was very scant on accessories, or just random accessories were thrown in. People found this figure in their collection and they knew it was some kind of mail-away, which led to speculation for years that there was some kind of Wonder Bread promotion between Mattel and the bread company. And of course, no one could ever dig up any evidence of this specific brown-haired He-Man promotion. And so many years later, when Scott Neitlich homaged that mail-away figure in Masters Universe Classics, they came up with the funny name Wun-Dar to homage his Wonder Bread speculative roots, which would later turn out to probably not be accurate. Instead, it appears that Scott Neitlich himself, the former brand manager of the Masters Universe license at Mattel, dug up the truth in some old Mattel documents, a letter from a mother complaining about how they didn't get a brand new character and it was just a He-Man with brown hair that came in the mail because Mattel was doing, I think, a buy two or buy three, get one free promotion where you would mail off to your proofs of purchase to Mattel and they would send you another figure. Well, it turned out it was this guy, and that letter pretty well seals the deal, pretty well proves it. So very thankful to have that mystery solved. With that out of the way, what we have here today is from the Masters of the Universe Origins team. This is, of course, using the Origins style of figure in order to bring that elusive mail-away to life. And sure enough, this was not a general retail release. This was only on Mattel Creations for better or worse, probably for worse. You can see that there is a beautiful illustration on the front of the box. These pencil drawings that they've been putting on the boxes are just incredible. I have not thrown away a single one of these shipper boxes yet, and I never keep shipper boxes. And it is really, really, really hard for me to throw this away, so I might have a problem. On the back, we get yet another brilliant pencil drawing of Wun-Dar himself. All right, let's go ahead and open him up. And there he is, Wun-Dar from Masters of the Universe Origins. Let's go ahead and look at the box. Brilliant art is always the order of the day with Masters of the Universe Origins, and this packaging is no exception. Truly, this is a beautiful work right here on the front. We have the figure displayed in the blister card, and on the back, rather than some sort of cross-sell, we get this cool mini poster. Now, I really love this because you have Wun-Dar fighting these skeleton-like creatures that are glow-in-the-dark that they've alluded to before. So I'm really hoping that we actually get some of these guys pretty soon in some kind of set. You can also see that in the background, that's not Teela. Since this story takes place 100 years before He-Man was born, we have Shirella back here, and you'll have to read the mini-comic to find out more about her. Let's go ahead and open this guy up. Before we look at anything else, it is worth noting that he comes with this little mini-comic. I've been very impressed by their mini-comics in the past. I definitely don't want to give away too much about this particular mini-comic, but there is something at the beginning that is absolutely hilarious, and I can't get enough of this. Sliced bread. It's the greatest thing and shall be for a long, long time. And yes, here he is, the mysterious Wun-Dar, out of packaging finally. And I have to say, overall, first impressions are very, very good. I knew what to expect, but you never know how these things are going to come through production and how they're going to look with the final product. And I have to say that I really do think that they did a fine job when it comes to the paint application and just overall. Taking a closer look at the figure, and you can see that all the eye application and things with the paint, it's all very, very clean. I didn't really have any kind of major issues to speak of. And you never really know when you buy these Mattel Creations figures because you are blind buying. It's not like you're at Target or something and you can go through 2 or 3 different samples and look for the best. So you never exactly know what you're going to get. With this head in particular, there's been some problems with some of them having the eye paint like printed down on the eyelid below or above. And so I'm really glad to see that was not the case here, and I hope you guys get just as lucky with this. Also, the little symbol there on the vest, the Zodak vest, whatever you want to call it, it also looks really good. It would have been a simple fix if it hadn't have, but I'm glad that it did, so I didn't have to fix anything. Moving on down, you can see that he's just using the familiar He-Man buck body that we all know and love, and we've seen it many, many times in Masters of the Universe Origins. One of the only little areas of slop that's kind of interesting is this right here at his bracelet. You can see at the wrist guard that there's a little bit of black paint that has gotten over on the arm a little bit, but it's so minor that you can barely see it. So to me, that's just a part of the cost of doing business when you're buying a mass-produced figure. Moving on down, you can see that he's got the furry underwear. He's got a black belt this time and black furry boots. Now, this does lead me to one funny little thing that went wrong in production. As you can easily tell, there's like a piece of white gunk here, and I'll just have to get a little bit of Goo Gone or something like that and remove it because this is just black plastic, so it's not like I'd be scrubbing away paint, rubbing alcohol, anything like that. But it's just kind of funny. I tried to get it off with my nail, just thinking that it was just barely on there, like a little scrap of paper, but it's really stuck on there. I have no idea what that could have been at the factory. And you can see from the back that He-Man's got the familiar kind of harness straps and things. Of course, with this particular harness, you don't get the extra little bit that would allow you to like put weapons in there and swords. So that is one unfortunate thing. It would have been nice if they had modified that to make sure that was included so that you could have stored some of his weapons. As it stands, you could try to tuck them into here, but it might look a little funny. From the side profile, he looks even more like a classic Masters figure. What's interesting is that this, to me, is more like actual classic vintage MOTU figure looking than even their standard He-Man, because I think we're all aware that that standard He-Man always had kind of more of a dirty blonde color of hair. So seeing it with the brown cast there, it puts me more in the mind of that original vintage head sculpt. So I think it does trick you a little bit into thinking that. So that's a cool effect. And overall, I think he's a dead ringer in terms of the actual figure itself for the original mail-away. Of course, the original mail-away didn't exactly look like this that we know of. We believe, at least I think that this is the case. I could be completely wrong because I was not alive when that mail-away was offered. This, I believe, is the figure you would get. And so I think it was He-Man without a harness. He just had, a little bit of a color variation in the hair just so they could call it a unique figure. When you did the buy 3, get 1 offer with Mattel, they were doing it with a lot of their toys at the time, according to Scott Neitlich. And this is what you get. And I like that in the mini comic, he spends most of the issue like this before he gets the vest. And I'll have to just let you read that mini comic and check it out for yourself to see how that all comes about. But it is cool that they kind of, because a lot of people refer to this for a lot of years before the Wonder Bread thing became a big deal on the early internet. A lot of people refer to this as Savage He-Man, I think. And so it's kind of cool to be able to just bring him down to this and have that original look. And here he is without the vest and more of the diorama. So what does he come with exactly? Well, like we talked about, he does have the black version of the Zodak vest. Turned out really nice. I believe that the origin of this in the original line is that it came from one of the weapons packs, and that's why people were just sticking it on their vestless He-Man that they had gotten from the mail-away promotion so that he wouldn't be so naked, and I think that's why we associate that with him now. He also comes with 3 accessories that mirror the original release, but the coloration is a little different here. You have like the axe, you have the sword, and you have the ray gun, the laser pistol. I think that the deal with these is that they said Mattel still had a bunch of like the weapons rack weapons lying around, and that's why that he was sent with these. Interestingly, there's a little bit of a plastic difference in some of them. This one, you can see that it's more of that kind of murky, kind of rough plastic, and you can see my nail actually made a few little indentions there. Battle damage, that's what we'll call it. Whereas the sword is that kind of shiny plastic. You can see it catch the light. Because of the Masters of the Universe Classics release, which is what I know the character from because I'm such a massive fan of that line, then I think that for me, I always expect him to have black weapons. So it's a little weird to see the brown. All right, let's give him his dignity and put his vest back on. And it just tires me to death to see people show you the same articulation over and over again in these reviews. You know exactly what the articulation is. Practically 99% of the people who watch this will have already seen a Masters of the Universe Origins review of some sort, so you know exactly what he can do. Just know that none of the joints that I'm showing right now are inhibited in any way. And that's always the concern now that we're this deep into the line. It's just, is there something different about the articulation? Can he not hold a certain pose or something that usually they can? And you can see the answer is, yeah, everything's fine. He's able to get those wide stances like that, and so it looks good. So to me, the real fun of these kinds of reviews is to do some comparisons. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. It's difficult to compare these guys to their Masters of the Universe Classics counterparts. Classics was such a formative line for me, and it still ranks as my favorite Masters of the Universe toy line, if not just my favorite toy line ever. And so seeing these guys side by side, it's really fun. You can definitely see the stylistic changes that happened. This is quite a bit more true to the original version, of course, sans the vest and all of that. And this has a few revisionist things with the design work, including, and like I always say in a lot of these videos, things that I like. Things like the back having this kind of almost jetpack looking thing and having an actual design. And especially cool is the Wonder Bread kind of logo, you know, the legally distinct version of the Wonder Bread logo back there. So that's really cool. And it's those little touches that, you know, make this guy still a standout in my collection to this day. He has weak ankles, so I've been trying to pose him to where he won't, see? I've been trying to pose him to where he's not going to face plant this whole time. You know, he's an older figure, and a lot of my Masters Classics figures I had to go in and like shore up the ankle joint. I also really like that the Classics version has the power sword, like the actual power sword, and it's done just in gray and black. So if you know, you know, but one of the best things about having that old Classics version is that he actually came with a secret accessory, the loaf of bread. So you can literally give that loaf of bread to Wun-Dar, who, according to the mini comic, loves his sliced bread. Look at that absolute savage right there with his Wonder Bread. God bless him. And you can butter it using this large butter knife. So you can just put it right on there. It's delicious and nutritious. He-Man. It's funny, Wonder Bread He-Man means something a little different to me nowadays after I found out I had celiac disease. That means I can't eat gluten, so I can't have regular bread. So this review of Wonder Bread He-Man is gluten-free. Oh, I can't believe I left that in the video. Before we can wrap things up on Wun-Dar, there's just no getting around it. We have to talk about the way that this guy was offered. I promised I would do a follow-up on my experience buying this guy, and here it is. Unfortunately, everybody thought that Wun-Dar would stick around at least a little while, and he didn't. They put him up on Mattel Creations a couple of weeks back, and it was a mess. I think he sold out within 2 minutes. I didn't have any trouble checking out, but people who checked out maybe 30 seconds after I did weren't so lucky, and they didn't get a single one. They had a limit of 3 on this guy, and it's such a shame that it didn't work out. I don't know if the limit just needs to be 1 and just call it a day. 2, I think, would be probably plenty. It's a real mess right now at Mattel Creations. I don't know what's happening. I suppose it's a good sign for the line in some ways. It shows that there's a lot of demand, and I know I always get these comments where people explain to me, oh, you know, that's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to drum up hype. Please, if you make something and you're not meeting the demand from your audience, you're not succeeding. I feel that this is something Mattel really needs to address. And it's such a shame that so many people that wanted this guy weren't able to get him. And even stranger, that somehow or another, people were finding them at some retail stores a month or two ago, like some discount stores or something. I don't even know what that means, but a lot of confusion over this release. Definitely a lot of disappointed customers, and Mattel really needs to get on that, and they need to make that right, and they need to re-offer this figure. No, I'm not saying offer it in a new version that has a different kind. No, I mean just re-offer this figure. Do another pre-order. Heck, do an open pre-order, which is something they should have been doing a long time ago, but that's my little rant for the day. You can't be anti-consumer and expect people not to be frustrated. My formerly complete Origins collection is no longer complete thanks to Mattel Creations and their bad business practices. So yeah. And with that being said, he was $15.99. He was offered exclusively on Mattel Creations for $15.99, and shipping and all that. He was a fine deal. That's just about what you would pay for a regular Origins figure at retail. He didn't really come with a tremendous amount of extra stuff or anything like that, but he did have an exclusive mini comic just for this release, so that does mean something. If I could make any changes to this figure, it would be that he would have come with some kind of fun extra accessory or lore-specific accessory. Even with Triclops, they went as far as to at least reissue that old glow-in-the-dark ring from Masters Universe Classics. Surely they could have included some fun bit with this guy. Instead, the actual, weapons pack accessories are pretty boring and kind of bland. It would have been fun if he had actually come with this loaf of bread that is from the old release of Wun-Dar from Masters of the Universe Classics. But hey, that was a pipe dream. But Mattel has this thing sitting around somewhere, has some tooling sitting around for this loaf of bread somewhere. They could have easily packed it in for fun, and the scale still works just fine. With that being said, please let me know down below what you think of this figure. Let me know down below if you're not convinced of Scott Knightlick's story about the origins of this figure. I think he's pretty well nailed it. I think that's probably an accurate story. Also, let me know if you too struggled to get this on the day of release and what your story was. So I can't wait to read all of the comments as always. Of course, be sure to subscribe, like the video if you can. It really does help us out here on Fanboys Forever. And of course, God bless you and yours. And I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.